Okay, so good evening, everybody. I'm a relatively new carver, so I first ran into Bob Hershey over the Zoom calls through the Lancaster Country Wood Carvers. And one of the things I had been hearing from other people is that if you want to get better at your carving, you should consider taking a course. And then the Lancaster wood carvers put out a magazine or a little newsletter, and in there was an advertisement for Bob's latest carving, which was going to happen in December, which was Rocky the raccoon and that. And for those who maybe got a chance to see one of the Zoom meetings, I've put the information there on this slide here. It's they've changed the dates. It's the second Tuesday of the month instead of the first, and that's the number there for the meeting if you wanted to jump in and participate. It's very much like what you folks do here, and it's quite enjoyable. And I've been following them since about a year now, year and a half, since COVID sort of forced us all into the dark here. And so anyway, I signed up for the course he's offering. And can you find that one for me? The next one there, Mark? That's it. So this is Rocky the raccoon. And the reason I got interested in this is my daughter has a dog that looks almost exactly like this thing. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a good Christmas gift. And now I've only been carving for a couple of years. And I thought maybe I'm biting off more than I can chew here or carve. So I emailed Bob and I asked him, I said, do you think this is something that's doable for me? And he says, oh, you know, everyone learns differently from these courses. So he says, even I learned from the students. So I thought, okay, well, I'll take a swing at it. And I signed up for it. And it was a course over 2 weekends in December. And it was a Saturday, Sunday each time. And it was 2 hours each day. And at the end of that time frame, you should have had Rocky all carved out here. And can you go to the next slide there? So I bought 2 rough outs instead of 1, because I was going to give one to my daughter, as the one on the right is the one I'm currently working on, and the other one is one I'll do later when I get a chance to finish it. But it was going to be a carving of Phil, her dog. So the carving is about 7 inches tall and 4 inches square. And so it's a decent size. And Bob starts off, you know, like he starts out by roughing out the outlines and bringing out certain details. And he'll jump in and he uses a gouge more than most people use a knife. He had a 16-3 V gouge that he really used quite a bit to detail the outlines. Go to the next one. There you go. So my carving's on the left and the actual rough out is on the right there. But during the state of the course, you're thinking, okay, so how's this going to go? I've never done one of these before. Do I just sit back and watch Bob do his thing here, and then later on go back and try and do the carving for what was covered that day? And the nice thing is Bob, he records the carving for that class, and then he posts it onto a YouTube account that he has. And so you can go back and you can watch the areas and then sort of work your way around your carving and see how you do that way. So I did that, and I got pretty good at it, but he moves ahead pretty quick on me. And you can see on the right-hand side there, the front of the, yep, right in there. That didn't get quite as done as I'd hoped, because Christmas and a snowstorm here in Ontario sort of really messed a lot of us up here. So I'm a bit of a slow carver, but I'm working my way around to the front of it. But it's interesting to watch him carve. And so for me, I think part of the process was after the first week or after the first weekend, I had probably 50% of it done. But the next two, I really just sat back and watched because he was covering certain details that I really wanted to see on that. And from there,
Now, Mike, I'll just interrupt for a minute.
Sure.
So you had mentioned he puts it on YouTube so you can follow it later, but that would only be appropriate to the people who had signed up to the course. Like I couldn't go in if I hadn't signed up for the course. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And even those of us that signed up for the course, those carving videos are only available for 2 weeks after the final lesson. So our lesson ended around the middle of December, and we lost access at the start of January for that. So, you know, I've certainly got the information I needed for what I have to do to finish on that. So I'm not worried that way. But it is something to contend with when you do these Zoom calls is, you know, where should I be? Should I be worried about trying to keep up with the instructor and keep carving, or do my best to carve what I need to get done for the next day or the next class? So that was a bit of a devil for me. Now the thing is Bob, he likes to use gouges, and the 16-3 at the bottom there that he's got, he really uses that quite effectively. It's almost better for him than a knife. He says he really is not a very good knife guy, and he uses that to profile all the lines. And to watch him push that gouge through the rough out and get the lines in would take me forever with a knife, because I'd have to be doing both sides and then taking the chunk out. He just scoops in there and away he goes. And it is really quite amazing to see. So that's one of the things you sort of pick up is how other people use different tools to get to where they want to be here. Now, let me just see where we are there in the picture. The back, yeah, go back one, Mark. So the back of the coat there was interesting because I had sort of been picking at this thing, and then Bob got in there and he says, you know, really go look at the flow of the material on the back of the coat, and how he uses gouges to get the lines he likes to have in there for movement in the coat. And so after I got messing around with mine, I actually went back over mine and I redid the back, and I liked it much better. So that was good to see that that had that effect on the carving. All right, what's the next one there? I can't see here from. Oh yeah, go down one more, Mark. There you go. So he uses, you can see the 16-3 at the bottom. There's it's a 35-degree bevel to that gouge, and he'll start out on the tail that you can see above the gouge there. He'll scoop it out like that with a regular gouge, and then he goes in and he adds more lines and more depth to the carving. And then eventually he gets his wood burner out, and the wood burner, he goes over and he really starts accentuating the depth of the cuts in the carving with his wood burner, which was interesting to see. You can see on the face there, there's quite a bit of detail he's done just with the wood burner for doing the fur on the face and getting the lines the way he wants them. He says, I always try and follow the flow of the fur. I never cross a line with the wood burner, because you'll get this cross line that just doesn't look natural. So all the hairs are right in place where they need to be on that. And he also does something a bit different. He burnishes the eyes with a piece of steel. And basically, after he's carved the eyeball out, he goes over it with the back of a gouge, and he rubs on the wood until it actually has a bit of a shine to it. And that shine makes the paint that's applied to it look even glossier on that. All right. And yep. So there's just an idea as to how much, this isn't my carving, this is one of the classmates. But he said he had about 3 hours worth of wood burning on this project to do. So it's quite a bit to get just the fur the way you like it on here. And the next one. And so here's my carving on the left, and here's Bob's on the right, and you can see the texture in the fur on the feet and on the tail that he's achieved by just doing it with the wood burner. So it was really interesting to see. He was burning quite viciously. He says it's one of his friends says he burns at a 10 because he doesn't have a 12 on the machine. But he says there's quite a bit of smoke coming off them. But then he takes it and he wire brushes the fur, and that gets rid of any of the burnt material that as a result of the wood burning on that. So for me, the real thing that was kind of important was being able to see what Bob was doing. So the videos that you get a chance to look at, it's nice to see up close and get as close as you can to the areas that he's carving. He did supply pictures, but only a printed picture. I managed to get some digital pictures off of his website, which were really, really helpful. And I think that's kind of important for people who are carving off of Zoom classes, because this seems to be the way they're going now with the advent of what COVID has done to us. Mm-hmm. And he says he likes to carve and teach by Zoom because he doesn't have to travel and it's easier on him. And he says the students seem to like it. So the other thing that Bob does is he also has a Facebook page for the students to log into, and only the students can log into that. But once you're a member of that, once you've taken one of his classes, you can log in anytime you like. You're not restricted after the 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of nice, because what you see there is people who are taking the course are posting their raccoons. Now we can always stop and ask a question, and he's very good at answering questions that way. And he'll show you if someone asks a certain question that he thinks might warrant a different technique, he'll go uncover that technique on another piece of wood. If you're curious as to how a different knife works or a gouge works. But yeah, it was interesting. I would, after doing the one course, I would probably take another one of his courses on that. The courses are in US dollars, so it's $125 for the course, and that includes the rough out. So I thought it was worth it. And I think I picked up a few things that I like about, working from, I've never done a rough out, so that's a new one on me. Mm-hmm.
That's really good, Mike. Any questions for Mike?
I have a question concerning the ribbon.
Oh, so here's the deal. It was the raccoon and not the stand. He says, well, we'll talk about the stand, but we're not carving the stand. And actually Bob said the ribbon was a bit of a stinker to do. Yeah. Because I think he said this was the stand was made out of butternut.
Looks like it.
Not basswood.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and ask your question. Maybe I might be able to answer it, because we did talk about it.
I just wondered, like, how many pieces of wood is it? Did it start off as one piece of wood, or is the loop and the ribbon glued on?
No, it's one piece of wood, and the raccoon is separate from the stand.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it just sits on top of there. Yeah.
Very good, Mike. Thank you very much for that. That was a real good review.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, I got a question for Mike too, please.
Oh.
You mentioned the Lancaster County Wood Carvers Zoom meetings, and I watched the last one there.
Oh, yeah.
First Tuesday of the month or second Tuesdays of the month?
Well, they said they were having trouble getting people to show up for the first Tuesday, so they've changed it to the second Tuesday now.
Second Tuesday,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got that information from Bob K there down in Maryland. And
oh, yeah.
And there was a little mix up there anyway, so it's the second Tuesday.
Second, yeah, it used to be the first,
Yeah.
but it's the second Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, fine, thank you very much.
All right, yeah, no problem.